How's it going, Mega Bloks Halo fans? Volkers here. Today I'm going to be dropping my first Halo Mega Bloks review since the Broadsword. And this is going to be a review of one of the most special sets of all time, one of the first, and in my opinion, one of the best classic sets. I mean, this is up there with the original 2010 Pelican for me in terms of how good and nostalgic this is. And I actually just got this recently for a cracking price on eBay. So this is going to be a bit of a different style, hopefully, to my broadsword review, a bit quicker and less rambly, and also, yeah, those short little meme in-joke videos I've been uploading are going to keep coming out at various times, but they're not going to replace my other content, if you're wondering. So, yeah, it's just a little PSA about that. So this is a review of, in case you haven't worked it out, this is the 2009 set, one of the first sets ever made, 96810 Aerial Ambush. So here's the very nice nostalgic box art, and this set comes with a UNSC Hawk, and for, I believe, 2 or 3 years it was the only set to release with the Hawk in, and to this day it's still the only set to include it in green until the remastered, or the remake of it for the 10th anniversary of Halo Mega Bloks comes out, which should be later this year. Then it also comes with the original 2009 Banshee, and this is going to be a rarity because to this day no other Halo Mega Bloks set will have it in, because why would they? I mean, obviously the re-release of this exact set might include that design of Banshee remade, but obviously the original is the original, same with the Hawk. And then it also includes this little turret here, which pretty nostalgic to me as well. I remember back in, I think it was like 2011 kind of times, when loads of Halo Mega Bloks stop motions were first coming out, and this turret would be in all of them, and I wanted one because it was bigger than the one in the Mongoose, which I had. But yeah, this is the set it's from. And as you can see, we also have 3 of the 4 figures included with this set on the box. So let's get into the figures first, and then we'll get to the vehicles. So as I just previously stated, this set includes 4 figures, at least one of which is actually pretty damn awesome and collectible, kind of valuable as well. This is the original little Copper Grunt figure, so if you're a brand new collector to Halo Mega Constructs, as it's now called, it's actually so old that it was called Halo Wars Authentic Collector Series rather than just Halo Mega Bloks, because back in 2009 it was only Halo Wars that the sets were made from, because that's the year Halo Wars came out. So this is the original mold of the Grunt. There have been 3 molds. This mold, the mold update in 2012, I think the year, or maybe 2011. I think it was 2011 actually. And then the version that has just been released now. Obviously I'm not talking all the different types of Grunt armor, I mean like the actual bodies, and yeah. So these are the original, and these are tiny. If we compare this with the scale of a regular old articulation figure, you can see it's pretty small, and then when compared to a figure in the new armor system, he looks even smaller. So this is the original design of the Grunt. This was in all the 2009 sets. So the sort of greyish, slightly bluish grey skin, which I'm really nostalgic for this figure. It's the first type of Grunt I ever had. Slightly bluish grey skin, and of course copper for the methane tank and the armor, what little there is of that anyway. And I don't believe he comes with a weapon in the set, because I have all the figures with their weapons, so he's just a little Grunt just to be thrown in there running around in a panic. So yeah, pretty cool little thing to include. One of the first sets to ever have one in. And then the second and final figure for the Covenant side, we have this also very nostalgic figure, one of the classic old figures, the original mold Elite Miner in purple. So similar colour to the Grunt, but more grey than bluish grey with the skin, as you can see. He comes with a classic Halo 2/Halo 3 beam rifle. And yeah, he doesn't have a peg hole, which is the original mold, and also the classic Elite Miner head, original head. And there's not much more to say about him. Obviously the old articulation, new, didn't even come out until 2014. So now we move on to the 2 UNSC figures. So the first one is this, the original and one of the best Mega Bloks figures made, the green Spartan 2 in Mark IV armor, of course, from the original Halo Wars era. And yeah, this is a very nostalgic figure, obviously. The first figure made in the first ever set that was released. I think that was the Unissi turret. If I'm wrong about that, then do correct me in the comments. But here he is, and he does come with his grey massive shotgun. So if you didn't know, the shotgun that we see now is actually tiny compared to the old shotgun. This thing is almost as tall as the figure himself. In fact, if we see here, it comes up to about almost the top of his helmet. They're very similar height, so the shotgun is absolutely massive, and of course it's the old Bungie design, the Halo 1 Combat Evolved looking shotgun there, and it's in grey, signifying it's also old. So yeah, that's the original classic Spartan 2 in Mark IV. And then by far the most interesting and my personal favourite figure from this set, the other three are nice, but they're in a lot of other sets. This one, however, I believe, and do correct me again if I'm wrong on this, I believe this is an exclusive, and it's a very nice one. So the old Halo Wars Flame Marine figures are all kind of collectible. They're all really nice to have. So obviously the old ones have the grey original design mould for the Halo Wars Flamethrower with the tube in the back. And I say this because there are newer ones that have just been released that have some notable differences, actually. So it's very easy to tell them apart. But this guy, the thing that makes him exclusive is he is in green armor, which I think is really cool because he'll blend in with the regular green Spartan 2s, which if you're like me and you've collected these for years, then you'll probably have quite a few of these guys. And also in the older sets, a lot of the things that made figures rarer was color. So for example, the different colored Hayabusa Spartans were highly collectible. I mean, they still are, but you know. So yeah, this is my favourite figure in the set, and I believe the exclusive, and it's certainly the only exclusive if it is. So that's the 4 figures. Let's move on to the certainly no less interesting vehicles. So before we move on to the main attraction, which is obviously the, attractions, the Hawk and the Banshee, this is a really nice inclusion, I think, that really makes this into just an amazing set. This little turret that they include. So you have this adjustable cockpit, shield, whatever you want to call it. Obviously the seat that can fit one figure, and we have these nice turret arms. So you cannot tilt the you can't tilt the turret too far, but you can actually tilt it back like that, so you can have it shooting up, and so you rotate it on the base. A thing to note here, which I might as well note here, is that this set does use stickers. The stickers are nice to have, and they're not too tricky to apply, but obviously the fact that stickers even exist is a bit of a putting off for collectors and, well, just anyone really, because they're a bit of a pain to put on there. It's much nicer to have printed pieces back. Keep in mind this was back in 2009 when they were just starting. So it looks really cool. It's a nice classic design, but it has one big problem more than the other two vehicles, although they do have it, which I will get into when I do the conclusion to the review. So that's most of what you have to say for the turret. I will put a figure inside this turret, see how that looks. I don't think I've actually done that before with this turret. The turret itself is very simple construction. The actual, what would you call these, the barrels of the turret are literally put on a just a long thin plate. They're just stuck on the end. There's no molded custom pieces or anything, which obviously the base is, but yeah, so it's not very neatly applied on there, but this is roughly what it would look like with the Elite on there, you know, spinning around, tilted up and down. So yeah, it's a pretty nice little turret to have. Let's move on to the Banshee. So right here we have this classic design for the Banshee. This is the 2009 design, exclusive completely to this set. So the main differences are from the later version, specifically the 2010 or 11 version, which was the widely available one that was just a small set. Firstly, the size is much bigger, and a lot of people prefer this design. I prefer it cosmetically, but the main problem with this thing is its stability and how sturdy it is. So this thing is not really going to be useful obviously if you're an older collector like myself, or you make stop motions with these things, it's not going to be so much of a problem. But if you're a child or a younger kid and you buy this thing, it's not really suitable for too rough of a treatment because it can easily fall apart. The later redesigns of the Banshee are much more stable, and there's a lot more focus on making the design stronger so that you can't just, well, break it so easily, break it apart. So the cockpit, of course, functions. You can open it, and there is still a handlebar in here so the figure can grab it and be inside. There's some sticker details, and I do kind of like the way these look. These are nostalgic to see the original Banshee missiles on the side, the things that shoot the fuel rods. None of the other Banshees really have them looking anything like this, so it's unique to this design. It's pretty nostalgic to see it. And of course we have the plasma cannons on the front there, and yeah, some of the stickers were a bit annoying on the Banshee, but overall it's a pretty nice design, pretty nice build, and again it's exclusive, so it's pretty uncommon, and you can stand it up like that. It is actually considerably bigger than the 2010-11 Banshee. I don't have a Raya to compare it with, but let's move on to the biggest and probably the coolest vehicle in this set. So before I get into reviewing the Hawk, I just want to emphasise this thing is pretty delicate. Certainly not suitable for any sort of rough treatment, and if you do get this thing, it's probably a good idea to either keep it as a display piece or just keep it in some kind of diorama, like mounted securely on some kind of invisible stand or something to make it look like it's flying, whatever. Just basically either have it on display or be very careful with it if you're going to use it for a video or something, because this thing is quite flimsy. And again, I'm not really going to have a go at them about it because this is from 2009 and the look is fantastic, phenomenal. And there's actually a fair bit of playability, moving parts for such an old set as well. You can move the missile launchers and the guns on the side here. So the cannons on the side, you can turn them like this, or you can break them off. Yeah, this set is really not for, well, to be honest, it's not that suitable for just much more than fiddling around with it. I've already just broken these off. There we go. It's a pain to put them back on while filming. Okay, so then the missiles here clip on, and you can see them there. So this tail was a massive pain to click into place properly. You're going to have some problems with that probably when you build this thing. But apart from that, it is a pretty fun thing to build. The one other problem with it is the part quality. So the part quality relates to the stability of these old sets, but Mega Bloks was notorious for having really pretty appalling part quality back in the day, so you want to be careful. Like these twin machine gun turrets on the front, they are so easy to knock off. I knocked them off to the point where I just put them to one side while I was building it, and I made that sound way too dramatic, but I'm just saying this thing is not that sturdy, so just be careful with it. Probably way more than the Banshee or the turret or anything else in this set. One of the most fragile old vehicles that I've ever seen. But the look is really nice. The design is still one of my favourite looking UNSC vehicle designs ever made, and this thing is 10 years old now. So the cockpit, once you get that on, that was a bit of a pain as well, but once you get it on into place, wait, no, the cockpit wasn't that bad. I'm thinking of the broadsword now. This was fine, but as you can see, opens just fine, and there is enough room in there. Just literally to lie a figure down. There's no seating in here, because there won't be room. It would compromise the design, which I can understand. There's just sloped pieces. So you can literally grab yourself a Spartan, the Spartan from this set, just stick him in there like that. You want to bend his arms so that you can actually sit in there properly. And that's all you have to do. Or you could just, decapitate the guy. Okay, what am I doing wrong here? Alright, so I think he actually has to lie down, come to think of it. Yeah, okay, so this is not working out. There we go. Okay, you just have to get in position right. Put his arms up so that he can actually fit. I know this is really thrilling to watch. So yeah, I thought I'd just readjust him in there and cut to him being in there. So it is kind of a pain to get him in there properly if you're, very skilled at putting figures in cockpits like I am apparently. I've got him in there to an acceptable degree, and this really proved my point off camera about how flimsy this thing is. The guns fell off, the little guns on the front fell off, and as I was putting them back on, half the nose fell off as well. So this thing that was me just literally trying to put a figure inside it. If you're a kid and you're trying to fly this thing around, it's not going to end well. It's probably going to end about as well as if you pick up the Pelican and throw it because you think it's going to fly across the room. I mean, it will, but it's not going to stick the landing too well, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, probably best to keep this thing on display. But that's fine because it looks really great. It's just very, very weak in terms of the construction because it's really old. So yeah, that's the original Green Hawk. There was the ODST one in sort of gunmetal, which was, I think it was a 2012 or 2011 re-release. But yeah, so let's talk about the one thing with this set that might be very problematic, which is the price of getting hold of one. Because the one I can't even remember the price now. Was it like 30 quid? Something like that. That's a really good price for such an old set, which back in 2009 was one of the biggest sets as well. And it is pretty rare to find it new in box now. So what you want to do is just look on eBay and try and find ones that aren't a stupid price. Basically, you can just judge for yourself how much you're actually willing to spend for this. And do remember, if you're not actually that bothered about getting this original version and blah blah blah, you just want this vehicle. Remember, the Banshee is available in many other sets. The turret, you can get very similar turrets in other sets. And the Hawk, if you specifically want the Hawk, then like I said, there's the ODST version, which to be fair is also kind of rare. But also there's the remaster that will be coming out this year. Not remaster. There's the remake, the 10th anniversary remake that is coming out later this year. So that's perfect timing if you were just thinking that you wanted a Hawk, but you didn't want to shell out to get the old version. But of course, you could just get lucky and find it for a good price. Anyway, I think that's most of what I have to say about this set. I mean, I'd highly recommend it if you can already tell. So thank you for checking this out, and I know this has been my first proper video in a little while. I will try and make some more videos, including the concise collection videos. I've not forgotten that those exist. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.